Hello, ladies and gentlemen. Today we will be discussing the presidential elections of the United States. We will see who, according to the ancient Babylonian astrology, will win the elections, whether this will be Donald Trump or Harris. In two previous videos, I analyzed the horoscopes of Trump and Harris. This time I will not go into deep detail. I will not make the complete analysis of their natal charts. Instead, I will look at their solar revolutions, solar return horoscopes. I will apply the ancient Greek method. I will not use the modern solar return chart because this method doesn't work. I will be looking at the solar return horoscopes of Trump for the year of 2016 in November when he won the presidential elections. Then we'll look at his solar revolution in 2020 when he lost, when the elections were stolen from him. And then we'll be looking at the solar return horoscope of 2024. Now, I am biased, of course. I will not hide this. I am biased. And if somebody tells you that he or she are not biased, this is not true. Everyone is biased. I am biased, and this might affect my reading, but I will apply accurate mathematical, astronomical tools of astrology so that my analysis looks to you valid and reliable. Then, of course, for Kamala Harris, we'll also look at her solar return horoscope, solar revolution. We'll be looking also at the profected cycles and the Indian cycles, the Vedic cycles, to see how they influence the timing of these elections of this year. Of course, I also looked at primary directions. I actually applied quite some methods because, to tell you honestly, this time the date of the elections and really analyzing who will win is a difficult story because of certain astronomical configurations, which I will show you a little bit later in this reading. So this will be the main methods I'll be using. Of course, the progressed horoscopes of Trump, progressed horoscopes of Kamala Harris. Basically, we have to apply many methods. Of course, also the transits. They are very important because if transit of Venus will not make a change, transit of Uranus, Neptune, or Pluto will make the change. So this is how I will look at their horoscopes. Of course, we will use the horoscope of America, the one of 1774, to see which horoscope is harmonizing with the horoscope of America. This is very, very important. We will also look at the important changes which are coming ahead for America. So let's start with Trump, ladies and gentlemen. First of all, the major cycle that is ruling his life, the planet which is ruling his life as of 2016 actually is Jupiter. Jupiter, so he entered Jupiter cycle in, you see how interesting, in November, no, sorry, in January of 2017, and this had influence on his presidential elections back then, 2016. And now, as we speak, he is still in a Jupiter cycle, and the second ruler of this cycle is Ketu, the lunar node Ketu. The presidential elections will be on the 5th of November of 2014, and just shortly after that, this will be 21st of January of 2025, the second ruler for him will change from Ketu to Venus. But at the moment of the elections, Ketu will be ruling his life. How is this going to influence his life? Well, Ketu in his horoscope is in Scorpio, in the 27 degrees of Scorpio, and Rahu is in Taurus, and this is the so-called exalted, as if exalted because you cannot speak about invisible planets in exactly this way, but the so-called exalted placement of Rahu in Ketu. So this wouldn't be such bad cycle. So this cycle does not necessarily mean that he will lose the elections. This is only talking about the cycles. He is in a Jupiter cycle, and because he's Jupiter, but let me share my screen with you so that you can follow my reasoning. Okay, you see? So you can see that he has Jupiter in the 24th degrees of Virgo, and this Jupiter, classically considered fallen, is delivering moderate results. So, but because he's born in a day, and Jupiter is diurnal planet, and because the dispositor of Jupiter, Mercury, is brilliantly placed, I still believe that Jupiter will give above moderate results. So this is not a bad cycle for him. And Ketu as a second ruler does not mean that he will lose the election. So this is solely based on cycles. We will look now at the solar revolution of Donald Trump I will start with year 2016. So this is the solar revolution of Donald Trump for the year 2016. Here we see something very powerful. You see a repetition of the ascendant with Jupiter and Rahu on the ascendant, and this is a recipe for winning. You have exact the term, not the degree, but the rising term is the same, the ascendant is the same, Jupiter is on the ascendant, trined by Mercury. This is truly a recipe for winning. This solar revolution, you could see immediately that he would be winning. This we don't need even to discuss in detail. You can see exact trine between Mercury and Jupiter. You see the Sun is in the vicinity of Aldebaran. Now I'm reminding to you, this is not the modern solar revolution, solar return horoscope. This is the Greek solar return horoscope, and this is a very powerful winning solar return horoscope. Here we have no doubts. Of course, you cannot rely only on the solar return to see if somebody will win or not. We certainly need to look at other we need to apply other methods, and at that time I used primary directions, and I saw that with the rulers of the 9th house he had primary direction, which would certainly mean something positive for his career, for his growth. That's why at that time I concluded that he would win. Let me show you now what I actually promised to do in the previous analysis of his horoscope. I will show you his solar revolution for 2020, when the elections were stolen from him, and I will show you why I think the elections were stolen from him. But before that, or maybe later when we look at aspects, I will tell you also which were the major aspects which brought to him the presidential chair. This is the solar revolution of 2020. As you see, his ascendant ruler Leo is in the 5th house. The Sun is automatically in the 2nd. Ascendant becomes Aries with Uranus on the ascendant, squared by Saturn. So Saturn and Uranus are forming a square. and also the moon, which is responsible for any action, is in the 8th house. And there is a square between the moon and Mars, and the dispositor of the moon, which is Mars, is in Aquarius, which is peregrine position of the moon. This is peregrine position of the moon. If you look at Aries as a ruler of the solar return horoscope, and the disposit and Mars, who is and Uranus are in exchanged positions. So you see that Mars, who rules Aries, is in Aquarius, and Uranus, who rules Aquarius, is in Aries. This is what we call mutual reception. This is very powerful, but both planets, Mars and Aries, can bring sudden change, sudden unexpected revolutionary change. And this is what happened, and I will show you later. Here you cannot see immediately that the elections were stolen from him. I will show you later how I see that this happened. In this solar return horoscope, you see sudden change or sudden revolution. But in the transits, I will show you how this is very visible, very, very evident transits, which we will look at in a moment. So this is the solar revolution for the elections for the year of 2020, which show eventually that he might not be winning. You can see that Saturn is in Capricorn, powerful Saturn, and let me remind you that Donald Trump doesn't have bad Saturn. Saturn in Gemini, according to some of the ancient authors, is like exalted. Saturn is happy in Gemini, and in addition, his Saturn is in the 11th house, which is the house of the good spirit, and this Saturn there is not harmful. So Saturn here is not actually the problem. The change would come with this mutual reception of Mars with Neptune and Uranus. And by the way, he is astrologer. I mentioned to you earlier, he is very, very familiar with astrology, with the degree that he has on the ascendant. He has Hydra Alphard, which is the star of astrologers. I'm sure that he's into astrology. If he would have been more careful to look, to notice this, he would have been maybe more careful, because this was a setup. This was inside the job, of course. Now let me show you the solar revolution for year 2024. Then we look at the aspects, and then we continue with Kamala Harris. So, ladies and gentlemen, this is the solar revolution of Donald Trump for 2024. This solar revolution I do not really like. This doesn't look promising to me, because the moon is in the 12th house, and remember, when he lost the elections in 2020, the moon was in the 8th house. These are the bad houses in astrology. In this case, the moon is in the 12th house, which of course immediately is a hint to hidden enemies or disease. So there could be something in this direction, disease or hidden enemies. In addition, the ruler of the ascendant, Jupiter, is invisible in the 6th house. We could have case of disease, case of an unhealthy situation, or set up by hidden enemies. This solar revolution doesn't say any good. In addition, the ruler of midheaven, because midheaven passes through 14th degree of Libra, this degree is powerful. From there, we have the beginning of the constellation of the Northern Crown. So this is a good midpoint, you will say. But the ruler of Libra, Venus, is invisible and in the 6th house. 6th house is the house of conflicts and disease, and receives the square from Saturn. So the dispositor of the moon, which is responsible for any action, Mars, is in Pisces, and this is certainly not a good sign. So we can say either this would show development that points towards set up by hidden enemies, or we can speak of unhealthy situation, something related to his health. I'm not immediately speaking about another attack, but I will remind to you that when I was analyzing just recently, I think a month ago or so, the horoscope, and when we looked at the attempt to take him down, I told you they will not stop with this, and you see a couple of days ago they did it again. And this is not just somebody who doesn't like him. This is a very good prepared setup, inside job. Now this is the horoscope of this of the solar revolution of Donald Trump for the year 2024. So of course we're not done yet. Now we will look at the transits. Let me show you now the horoscope of 2016, the day of the elections. What we have here, we have actually this is the day of the elections. Let's see differently. In 2016, the day of the elections, we have here, in this case, we need to look at the trans-Saturnian planets mainly, because they're responsible for the important changes. And let me tell you what happened. We had Uranus on the 28 degrees of Pisces, sidereal Pisces, and Uranus was making exact sextile to his Sun, and square to his natal Saturn. But his natal Saturn in Gemini, like I told you, in the house of the good spirit, is certainly not bad. So Uranus was not really harmful for him. In addition, Neptune was creating trine to his Mercury, and Mercury is very important. Mercury is behind most of his success and wealth, because Mercury is visible. Mercury is evening star, born 4 days before Donald Trump was born. So also Neptune was in the same degree as his natal Pluto, and this is not to underestimate. This is a very powerful, potentially condition for positive outcomes. When we looked also at, I told you, primary direction he had. In addition, we looked at the solar return horoscope. Previously I looked at his progress horoscope, but I cannot tell you just everything that at that time I carefully looked at. And now comes the most interesting part, and these are the elections of 2020. What happened then? Again, let's look at you saw, I explained to you why the solar return horoscope was not promising back then. But he had Uranus in the 15 degrees of Aries at that time. Uranus was squaring his natal Pluto. This is one minor detail. But Neptune was in his 7th house in Aquarius in the 25th degrees of Aquarius. The aspects which Neptune was making were exact square to his lunar nodes and natal Uranus. Neptune in his lower vibrations would mean cheating or misuse of truth, and so at that time he also had Jupiter-Pluto conjunction in the 28 and 29 degrees of Sagittarius, and they were making exact opposition to his Saturn. And when you look at this whole situation, second. I want to try to show you. Difficult to exactly this picture to show, but I will explain to you. So when we look at this situation, you had Jupiter and Pluto making opposition to his natal Saturn, and without good Saturn, no one can reach kingship. This is just not possible. You will never see mighty, powerful, let's say, person on a powerful position in society with a bad Saturn. And Pluto and Jupiter made opposition to his natal Saturn. And this is already, Pluto is about hidden secret societies, and Pluto was making aspect almost exact to Neptune. And this was this happening on his natal horoscope was a very risky situation for somebody cheating him. In addition, Neptune was squaring his natal moon and the lunar nodes. So this is like a chess mate, This situation is showing that only by transits and low solar return horoscope he was kind of set up. He was cheated. This is because of the placement also of his natal Neptune. And in his horoscope, Neptune is in the second house and participates in a square from Saturn and Mercury. So this is another planet which is very powerful and is fallen. Neptune and Jupiter in his horoscopes are fallen. So Neptune is not exhibiting the highest vibration. So Neptune will not give great spiritual growth in his horoscope. Instead, Neptune can create situations like this. And like I'm telling you, in astrology, when you have planets in the same degrees, they are also participating in an aspect, even if you don't see visible aspect. And this way, more planets were affected by the presence, by this aspect from Neptune. Only if you look at Jupiter and Pluto in the 28 and 29 degrees of Sagittarius, and they did not directly afflict the Sun in his horoscope, but the Sun is in the same degree, so this is automatically affliction. And the Sun is also responsible for the rank and for the growth, and in his horoscope the Sun is ruling the ascendant because he has ascendant Leo. So when you look at this transit solarly and the solar return horoscope and the lack of primary direction for winning, we could already see that he was taken advantage of, and he didn't see this coming because I think he didn't look at all possible astrological aspects. So this is what I think happened in 2020. Why I insist that this was an inside job, that the elections were stolen. You can say I am biased, but this is also because of the low condition of these two planets, Jupiter and Neptune, both fallen and both participated in this very important aspect. And Neptune is behind cheat, lie, illusion when badly placed in the horoscope. Also, Neptune at the moment of the transits was peregrine, without any dignities, or even without being in a losing position. So this is about the year of 2020. Let's look at the aspects of the election day of 2025. I think it was 5th of November, if I'm not mistaken. So what will be happening then? 1 second. At the day of the election of 5th of November 2024, Uranus will be in the 2nd degrees of Taurus. This is exactly the place of his midheaven where his algo is passing through, is placed. Midheaven passes through his algo, and Uranus will be there. Uranus is a slow planet, and he will be there for a couple of days, but at the moment of the elections too. And actually, this worries me a little bit, because we had not the same but similar placement when they tried to kill him. Of course, Mars participated too, but Uranus at the moment of the elections will be also squaring his natal Mars. This is automatically showing disharmony and possibility for sudden change. Also, Uranus will be squaring the transiting Mars, who will be in the 12th house in the 7th degrees of Cancer, fallen Mars. In addition, at the moment of the elections, his 10th house, which is ruled by Taurus, Venus will be fallen. And we have exact opposition between Jupiter and Venus. I'm not worried about the opposition between Jupiter and Venus, but when you have Venus in fallen position and she's responsible for his rank and growth because she rules the 10th house, this is not necessarily promising winning. Certainly not. At the moment of the elections, Saturn will be in the 19 degrees of Aquarius, which is his 7th house, and will be squaring the 10th. But will be trining his Mercury, natal Saturn, and so. So the transits are not certainly very beneficial for him, mainly because of the placement of Uranus squaring his natal Mars, and this could be dangerous. This could mean something revolutionary. This could mean another attempt for attack or health matter. This could mean sudden change, like something not exactly the same, but in the direction of what happened in 2020. I am not sure that these particular transits, solar revolution, are recipe for winning. I'm certainly not sure. Not really. How is he fitting in the horoscope of the United States? You can see I'm sharing screen with you, and you can see now the horoscope of the United States, 21st degree Scorpio ascendant. The ascendant of Trump is in the beginning of Leo, you see. This is the 10th house of the States. The moon of, and this is the 10th house of the States is the seat of the president. And this is his ascendant. So no wonder he was a president, because as you can see, he is sitting with his ascendant, with his house of life, right on the 10th house of the president's. This is the presidential seat in the horoscope of the States. This is his 4th house, you see. His 4th house is the ascendant of the United States, and all that makes perfect sense. And his moon is in the 28 degrees of Scorpio. His moon is right on the ascendant of Scorpio of the United States. No wonder he was a president. Now, at the moment of the elections, Uranus will be here. You can see I'm pointing in the 2nd degrees of Taurus. This will be the moon, the Uranus, and will be squaring the moon of the States. Mars was in the 5th degrees Cancer, right on the lot of fortune of the States. This is the 9th house. So Uranus is here. Here is Mars. Saturn will be in the 19 degrees of Aquarius. You see here Saturn squaring. Saturn will be squaring the natal Uranus. Pluto return. You already have people from America. Pluto, at the moment of the elections, will be in the 7 degrees of Capricorn. Pluto return. You have Aquarius return. And at the moment of the elections, the moon will be... No, the moon, sorry. not the moon. I meant the moon of Donald Trump is on the ascendant of America, and this makes perfect sense. But the point is that when you have here Uranus in Taurus, and when you have Pluto return, when you have Uranus return, later on, this could be, this will not happen immediately, because Uranus will advance to his natal position of the horoscope of America a little bit later, but he already squares the moon of United States, so not immediately, but in 2025 and even before, this is a recipe for crisis and revolution. But I will look at the horoscope of America and Europe separately. We just wanted to see here how Donald Trump is fitting in the horoscope of the States, and we will be doing the same with Kamala Harris. Now let's move on to Kamala Harris. We will look at her horoscope, her solar revolution, and only for 2024. Makes no sense to look at the previous 2 years, and we look whether she fits in the horoscope of the United States. So I'm showing you the horoscope of Kamala Harris. I'm sharing my screen with you. Look now. So you can see ascendant in the 2nd degree of Gemini. She has midheaven passing through the 9 degrees of Aquarius, Saturn in the 5 degrees of Aquarius. I made separate video only analyzing her horoscope. You can see Jupiter is in the 29 degrees of Aries. How we look at this? First of all, is this a horoscope of somebody having very powerful position in society? Yes, she's also born on a full moon, and the axis of the full moon is exactly 11th, 5th houses. This is the axis of luck, actually, of social status. She also has the moon in the 4 degrees of Aries, where you have the white degrees of Athena Pallas in Aries. These are lucky degrees. She has Saturn in the waters Eridanus on midheaven, but Saturn is not really able to give full blessing because this is night horoscope, but Saturn receives exact trine by Mercury and the Sun. But Mercury is not visible, and Mercury is the ruler of the ascendant. Mercury not visible is not exceptional. Donald Trump has visible Mercury, and people who have visible Mercury are exceptionally smart, and people with Mercury in a heliacal phase and visible in our world are like 7-8% of the human beings. So she's not really exceptionally smart, but she's lucky. She has fallen Mars, and the fallen Mars is ruling the 6th house, and the 6th house is the service that she is providing. This is also not brilliant position of Mars. The moon is the dispositor of Mars, and the moon and Mars have exchanged positions, and I mentioned to you earlier, this is very powerful. This is actually the recipe for her growth and success in society. But if we need to compare the two horoscopes, who is more powerful? Obviously the horoscope of Donald Trump, who has on the ascendant the star Regulus. This is one of the 4 royal stars. He has also powerful influence of even Algol, which everyone is afraid of. I can tell you that according to Hermes, Algol is a star of money. He has Algol. Kamala Harris doesn't have even one mighty star with high amplitude. Even if you look at Libra, where she has the Sun in the 4 degrees of Libra and Mercury, we cannot speak of exceptional degrees. Only the Sun in the 4 degrees of Libra, you have one constellation there which is called the bed and gives comfort. She also has something powerful, which is the mutual reception between Venus and the Sun. This is a horoscope of mutual receptions, like lucky placements, but this is not a horoscope of mighty position in society. Because, well, okay, she is already on a powerful position, being vice president, of course. But if you compare the two horoscopes of her and Donald Trump, he has by far more powerful horoscopes. She cannot reach very powerful position in society because Saturn is a little bit limited only by the fact that Saturn is the diurnal planet and this is a night horoscope. This is also something very important. How is she placed in the horoscope of the United States? The horoscope of America has ascendant Scorpio. Scorpio is placed in her 6th house. Descendant Taurus. Taurus in the 7th house. She has also the midheaven of the 10th house of America is ruled by Leo. This is her lower meridian. And the lower meridian of America is the horoscope of is her 9th house, which is Aquarius. This is by far lower connection than the connection which the horoscope of Donald Trump has with the horoscope of America. So when you look at this chart, this does not automatically speak of winning too. I don't know. This is very interesting. Uranus at the moment of the elections will be in the 2nd degrees of Taurus. This is her 12th house. Saturn will be in the 9 degrees Aquarius. This is her 9th house. She has good Saturn. Pluto will be in the 7 degrees Capricorn. This is her 8th house. Pluto will make aspect to her Mercury. You see? Pluto, Mercury. Square. Neptune will be in Pisces, also in 1st degrees, not automatically. You see, this particular horoscope doesn't, and the placements of at the day of the elections doesn't promise her winning, but he also, Donald Trump, receives serious affliction by the mainly because of Uranus on his midheaven. Let's look at her solar return chart. Take a look, ladies and gentlemen. Fallen Mars on the ascendant, for natal ascendant Gemini. So the 2nd house becomes ascendant in the solar revolution. Moon is in the 10th. What I was a little bit, surprised by is the moon is in the house of Mars. Mars is the house of the moon. And this is powerful, ladies and gentlemen. It might be a square, but this is very powerful. See, the moon, which rules the ascendant, is in the 10th house, and Mars, who rules the 10th house, is on the ascendant. They replaced positions. This is powerful. This is hiding more potentials than the horoscope of Donald Trump. Something sudden might happen, like people will be maybe expecting him to win, and something might happen and there will be a change in the course of action, and she might be enforced in this position because this is a square. This is not harmonious placement. This will not be harmonious placement of her in a key position in the country. I suspect that something like that may happen because she has more powerful and more benevolent in her favor solar return horoscope than the horoscope of Donald Trump. Her chart, her solar return is also not very good because of fallen planet Mars on the ascendant, and this shows like enforcement of something, like she might be enforced into a position or something like that, like there will be something sudden happening with him most probably, and then these elections, I can tell you, will absolutely not be typical. They also will not be peaceful. Absolutely, they will not be peaceful. Look, where is Uranus? Here, at the in the her solar return horoscope. Uranus is just in the beginning of Taurus. This is her solar return horoscope, and Uranus is actually also in her 11th house, and he is the Lord of Change. What can I tell you? This is something very unusual, very, very, but still powerful. There is power in this solar return horoscope, I have to be honest. This mutual reception between the ruler of the 10th, and the 10th is the career, the 10th is the seat of the president, is showing eventually a possibility for her to be enforced to be in this position, because this is not harmonious. If she takes the seat, this will not happen naturally, this will not happen harmoniously. Also, you see, Rahu Ketu on the axis of her midheaven lower meridian is where all these eclipses will take place, and they open also portal for change. Let's take a look at her cycles briefly. So as we speak now, she's in a Rahu cycle. Rahu is on her ascendant. This is correct time of birth. Rahu is on her ascendant, so this is pointing towards her. It's all about her. So Rahu is the main ruler of the cycle, but this is not new, because she entered Rahu cycle in November of 2012. When she won in 2020, she was just in a Mercurian cycle, and like I mentioned to you earlier, her Mercury is in a powerful degree and participates in the full moon. This is what opened the opportunity, not because her Mercury is good, not because she's very smart. She doesn't look to be very smart. She's tricky with a full moon and Mercury participating in the full moon. But Mercury cycle, Rahu and then Mercury opened this opportunity for her. Now, in 2000, this happened early 2020 when this opportunity took place. In 2024, she still will be under the influence of Rahu, so it is a lot about her own karma, her own opportunity, her own growth. But the second ruler as of July is Venus. So she will be under Rahu, lunar node, and then Venus rulership. And Venus is in Leo together with Uranus, Pluto, and the Sun. Her Venus is the ruler of the 12th house, so this gives automatically to Venus mediocre result, but Venus also rules the 5th house, and this is the place of her full moon, full of opportunities. Venus receives opposition from Saturn, but Saturn is very powerful on her midheaven. But the fact that she is in a Venus cycle, and the fact that Venus will be the second ruler at the moment of the elections, is not depriving her from the opportunity to win, because also Venus receives exact trine from Jupiter, almost, not exact, but quite a good trine from Jupiter, and Venus is with Pluto, Venus is with Uranus, so, and is the dispositor of the 5th house, the house of her full moon, and the house of the good fortune. So is this Venus capable of giving her positive outcomes? Yes, Venus is possibly giving her positive outcomes. So Rahu Venus cycle at the moment of the elections is not bad for Kamala Harris. The solar return chart shows opportunities. And what can we say, ladies and gentlemen? Based on what we just saw, based on the analysis of the horoscopes, the 3 solar return charts of Trump and the solar return horoscope of Kamala Harris, I can tell you she has a little bit more powerful charts. He is also in a powerful position. His horoscope is more powerful than her horoscope, by far more powerful. But at the moment of the elections, seems that she has the luck is a little bit more on her side, mainly because something very sudden may happen, unexpected, which we cannot, something that we cannot describe, and something that may have to do with his health. So like I told you, this attack which we saw, the first, the second, I think it will not end up there. And I hope that he is surrounded by good astrologers so that they can tell him and protect him. So ladies and gentlemen, let's see. This is based literally on what astrology showed us. Let's see. I will be welcoming really your comments. If some of you are using, let's say, other means of predictions, or please comment. This is very important. I even feel that this is the most important video I'm making because it is important. This doesn't concern only America. This concerns the whole world and the wars which are taking place now. So all the best, be happy, and please comment. I'm looking forward. All the best. Bye bye.